Joe, after the disappointment last week, do you feel like the guys sort of responded and gave you the performance that you wanted from them?
Absolutely. I thought the performance this week was a lot closer to where we want to be as a template moving forward in Test cricket. I thought we drove the game pretty much the whole time from that first session and on day one, and that was really pleasing. You know, we got ourselves in a position of strength, and no point did we really let them back in, which, you know, after a difficult week like Manchester was, it was exactly what you want from your team. You step up, and throughout the whole series we've shown a lot of character. At times we've been outskilled, and you know, we've been sloppy for the odd hour here and there, which has cost us, but we've always fought very hard, and you know, that's a very pleasing thing to look at moving forward. There's always things you want to get better at and learn from, but that's something that's quite hard to instill in players and in a group. So hopefully that'll be a massive stepping stone and starting point for us to really kick on as a team now.
As captain, what does 2-2 look like as an achievement to you? Obviously, with the way Steve Smith batted through the whole series, and for you having no Jimmy, for example, for best part of 5 tests, does it look like a decent scoreline for you, or not so much?
Well, it looks a hell of a lot better than 3-1, that is for sure. You know, I think it's probably a fair result if you look at the whole series. People might disagree with that, but look at the Lords and things could have been very different after that game. Yeah, I mean, you can look at ifs and buts, and you know, if he'd not got runs and if Jimmy was still playing, things might have been slightly different, but things go in a certain way and you have to adapt, and we didn't do enough to win it back, but we've, you know, certainly put in a performance this week, and which meant a huge amount. You know, to level this series, I think was really important for us as a side, and we'll take a lot from it moving into the winter.
You said that this performance was sort of a blueprint that you'd like to see the way England would play. Do you think there's that much change required to this team, or do you think the sort of basis of it is there?
The basis is there. I think the conversations to have in the next couple of weeks. It's been a long, gruelling summer, if you like, with a number of different challenges that we've never had to face before. And I think for a lot of it, we've responded well to it. You look at the this week in particular, it looks like we're just starting to get to grips with Test cricket after a very long period of one-day cricket. And we've got a period now and an opportunity in the next 2.5 years to really push and do everything we can to prepare extremely well for that tour of Australia. So that's going to be a huge focus for me, and I'd like to hope for English cricket.
Joe, Rory Burns has had a decent series. Joe Denley finished quite strongly, so did Jos Buttler. Do you feel at the end of this game that some of the pieces are starting to fall into place?
Yeah, as I said, it was more of a blueprint of where we want, or how we want to go about playing, but it was still things that we can get better at. You know, we still look at that first innings, the position where we're in. We want to be, you know, 450, not where we were. So we can still look to get better, and there's still areas we want to strengthen and improve on. But certainly, guys have stepped up under pressure, and you know, that's really pleasing. You know, someone like Rory, pressure he was probably under at the start of the series, he's come through it, and against a very good attack at the top of the order, has probably been the standout opener throughout the whole series.
Joe, clearly you would have wanted to win the World Cup and the Ashes, but if you got told at the start of the summer it was World Cup and 2-2, in your heart of hearts, would you have taken that? Do you look back on the summer as a success?
That's not a fair question. You know, I'd be desperate to win this series.
Is the summer a success, though?
I think so. For English cricket, I think it's a success. I think it's not a fair question to ask the Test captain. But you look at it, it's been phenomenal cricket, hasn't it? It's been... That World Cup was incredible. For it to finish how it did, some of the games within it made for fantastic viewing. Not just the England games, but across the board, there were some fantastic contests. And to be backed up by such an evenly matched Ashes series, again, we were blessed with brilliant support throughout, but the cricket itself was pretty gripping. quite hard to be involved in at times, especially when they're on the wrong end of it. But what a summer of cricket it's been. I think a huge success for English cricket, and I think a great wave now. Oh, we've got a great opportunity now to spring the game forward, if you like, in this country.
Back will do Ian and then Rob.
Joe, just in terms of the Australian attack, is this the best attack you've faced, do you think, in your career?
In these conditions, this summer's conditions, if you like, it's been probably the most challenging, yeah.
What is it about that? Is it the nagging way they bowl, or is it just the pace? Or
combination of everything, really. I mean, you put the conditions together with number 1 seed and number 3 seed bowler in the world. That alone is going to be quite hard work. But they're a good side. They've been performing as a bowling group for a while. They were very well prepared, and made it very difficult. I think both bowling attacks have been outstanding. You look at the way we've gone about things. We've created a huge amount of chances. Both top orders have struggled because of how well the opening bowlers have gone about things and been ably backed up as well.
Rob, we'll do Ali.
You mentioned that next tour of Australia being... You mentioned that next tour of Australia being a big focus. How many of the players in your current squad do you think will be making that trip, and do you think you've built a real platform, I suppose, particularly with Jofra? Are you excited to see what he can do with the red ball in Australia?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's 2.5 years. It's a long time in terms of cricket, and one of the very exciting things is the next 2.5 years of Test cricket. There's something on every game with this Test Championship. I think that's a great advert for Test cricket, and there's every game's going to count in some way, shape, or form. But it's that's got to be our main focus, is going down there and winning. And every Test match in between that is an opportunity to push your case. So if you're given the opportunity to play, you've got to make it really count. He's come in and been fantastic. He's 4 Test matches, 2 sixfers. He has a way of having a huge impact on the game. You saw his spell here, the way that it just changed the whole atmosphere of the ground was incredible, really, for someone right at the beginning of his career to have such a gift is entertaining. It's great to be able to captain that, and very much look forward to the rest of his journey.
Ali, John, and we'll finish with Dan.
I was going to ask about Jofra as well, actually, but talk a bit more about Jofra. Well, but particularly, I mean, there are no givens in sport, though, are there? So even after a World Cup, and you've seen how he's reacted in the final, was there any uncertainty that he might be able to transfer it to Test cricket, or did you just know that he was going to be this good, and now you must be massively excited?
Well, when I faced him in the nets against the red ball, it was pretty clear that he was going to be something special. I think one thing we've got to be very careful of is expecting too much of him. He's a young guy at the start of his career that's playing all 3 formats, and he's still learning. Now, I'm still learning how to get the best out of him as a captain. But one thing that you can expect from him, he's going to entertain, and he's going to make things happen. At times he might not always bowl at 90 miles an hour, but he will still go at 2.5 and over and create chances. And I think making sure that we don't expect him to average 12 for the next 2.5 years is going to be really important, but also knowing that he's got that ability to turn a game on his own.
You mentioned now, and also before the start of the game, the next Ashes series 2.5 years' time, and there's sort of 20 or 25 Test matches between now and then. So clearly, you're in this for the long haul.
I am, yeah. I'm certainly planning to be, yeah. Do you want me to elaborate on that? Yeah, I mean, I'm desperate to take this team forward. I'm in a very privileged position to be captain of the Test team, and I'll do everything I can to get us very well prepared for going down there and hopefully doing something very special.
Last one down.
Joe, a lot of bowlers have tried to get Steve Smith out LBW, and a lot of captains have tried to get him caught at leg gully over his Test career. Did you have a chuckle that those actually happened in this Test, and I guess a word on the series that he had? Yeah,
he's been a pain, really, for me. He's played extremely well. He's obviously the number 1 batter in the world, and for a reason. He's in difficult conditions. He's stood up and done something very special, and been the difference really. You know, he has. But it was nice to see a plan come together finally, even though it was what we started with at Edgbaston right at the start of things. But yeah, finally one went to hand.